Okay, so another option we have is an educational question. So pose a question to the group, something like, all right guys, introduce yourselves by name and then how much water you drank yesterday for the whole day, as well as how much you think you're supposed to drink in a day. Go.
My name is Paul, drank 120 ounces, and I think it's recommended you get at least 80.
Close. So it depends on the individual, larger individual, especially a male, I would say more. Typically I say a gallon at least is something to shoot for. It's 128 ounces. So close. And you were right there too. Yeah. That's awesome. All right. So we go through one of those three types of questions. If you have no creativity in your soul, then maybe ask another coach for help on these questions before you start class, but make sure you have something, an icebreaker, and you do it consistently every class. Our members enjoy this, and again, like I said, it gets everybody to open up and get ready to roll. All right, so going through the class, this would be the point at which you would turn to the board. So Sam, you can bring it in a little tighter, but basically, we'll have the class gather around. We're gonna kind of walk through a little bit about what we're gonna do today. So hey guys, it's been a long week. It's Thursday. It's time to get loose. We're gonna open up with some yoga. Get about 10-15 minutes of that. Get a good stretch in, and then we're gonna roll some gymnastics. We got 5 rounds for time, 5 chest to bars, 10 box jumps, 15 sit-ups. So we've got a triplet, a couple different movements. We're working a lot on hip flexion and extension, being explosive with those movements. Box jump and sit-up will actually apply to the movement of the chest bar. And if you saw Bobby's video on the tip yesterday, keeping the toes pointed, the feet together, squeezing the glutes, all that stuff is gonna help be more explosive to get up to the bar, okay? And once we're done with that, we're gonna hit some strength. So we've got clean high pulls from the floor, followed by power cleans. So let's be explosive off the floor. Let's get that movement dialed in first, and then let's apply that movement when we get into some touch and go cleans. Same rep number, right? 2 and 2, up to 65%. So we're not going heavy. So it's a good chance to practice your technique. And then for our WOD, we got 3 rounds for time, 5 touch and go power cleans. Not a super heavy weight for anybody. So 135-95 or scale to something that you can hit pretty fast. And then 30 unbroken wall balls. That's right. So you got to pick a weight and a height that you can hit consistently for all 30 reps without missing. Because if you do miss, you've got 20 jump lunges every time you break. You don't want to make your quads feel any worse than they already do. Okay. So that's an example of running through class and explaining the why. You guys, we want to do this every single class. People are more than happy to just come in here and do whatever the hell you tell them, and that's great. But we want to give them kind of an idea of how these movements go together and how that's going to apply to them. We're not going to over-science it or just vomit knowledge on them because they don't really care. But they do like to see that there's something that goes into our programming that sets us apart from other gyms, right, who would just pick things at random and throw stuff together and never explain anything, okay? So it makes us stand apart, so let's make sure we consistently do that. All right, so then class setup. Yeah, let's start with that. So yoga, same, you can just turn around. You just circle everybody up, so everybody's facing each other. It's just me and Paul right now, so we face each other, make it weird. We'll go through our stretches, right? We move to gymnastics. For gymnastics today, we had the chest to bars, box jumps, and sit-ups. So class arrangement for this, we obviously would do our chest to bars on the rig, which is where Sam is under right now. So we want to make sure that everybody identifies a pull-up bar for themselves. So Paul, pick a bar. Cool. And then if I'm also going, it's not really ideal that I go right across from him, right? Or even back to back, because in a kipping chest bar, his feet are going to probably come out. Yeah, he's going to kick me in the ass every time, right? So we're going to space them out a little bit further. Now, if he was on this bar, I could be on this bar because I'm 6 feet away, and that'd be totally fine, right? Ideally, we'd face the same direction, so we're not kicking at each other with each kip, right? All right. We also have these bars, so basically just make sure everybody sets up under a bar. Once you look around, verify that everybody is not going to kick each other in the face, nuts or butt, right? Then we can move on. So from there, we have box jumps and sit-ups. So we have all our boxes usually lined up against the wall. They're going to pull a box out. They're going to line them up. And they're all going to be facing the same way, right? So here's what we don't want to see. Set yours right there. Cool. So he's jumping here, then I have a box right here. So if he did a box jump over, because that's faster, so you're coming through, and I'm like ready to jump. We're like right on top of each other, right? So we don't want to run into that scenario, okay? So ideally, we would just say, hey, I want everybody box jumping towards me, okay? As the class manager, AKA the coach, you're gonna identify that as what you want them to do, okay? With that said, your sit-ups, in this, we have 5 rounds, 4 times. This is a WOD. We're gonna move quick. Your sit-ups, there's gonna be people doing sit-ups while people are doing box jumps, okay? So you have to understand that going into this WOD. I'm gonna have them do their sit-ups away from the box, not on like a landing side. If somebody's doing box jump overs, we don't want them to get jumped on, or too close to a box where if somebody, God forbid, fell off the box or slipped, they'd be kicking me too, okay? So make sure we're spaced out enough. For example, if he's jumping there, I can do sit-ups here. If everybody has their own box, he can do box jumps here, sit-ups here, right? But he stays in his own zone, okay? So it depends on how many people are in the group. Assuming this is 12 people, we don't have 12 boxes, so somebody's gonna share, and we need to make sure that those ab mats, which are right over there, are in a position where nobody's gonna get jumped on, okay? Same thing applies for our cleans. Whenever we get barbell work going, we wanna avoid the chance of collars touching each other. If we drop a barbell from overhead and it bounces across the room, we don't want that to run into somebody's legs or another barbell, and we don't want to ever really be facing this way so it bounces into the wall and punches a hole in it like has happened before. Okay, so ideally, barbell work always facing this way. You have essentially like 1, 2, 3, 4, and then even 5 lanes here of 3 people at least, okay? So there's plenty of room to set everybody up, okay? Then think about weight management. If we're doing cleans, we're probably okay in terms of weights in the room, right? If we're doing deadlifts, that's a little different story. Deadlifts, if we got a lot of dudes in the class or something like that, and we're lifting, or some real strong chicks, then we're gonna have to partner up, okay? If we have a large class like New U, with 20 people, we're gonna have to partner up on barbells. So understand numbers of equipment, how much you have, identify that ahead of time, and then you can say, all right, it's 20 of you guys, we're gonna pair up, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, count them off. 1s, you're doing the gymnastics work. 2s, you're doing the barbell work. Or, you know, once we're paired up, we could say, grab a barbell together, get a partner that has a similar weight to you, if we're not counting them off at random at that point, of course, but grab a partner that has a similar lift to you and deadlift, clean, whatever, get with them, you guys build up together. Just kind of like switch off. If it's a WOD, we can seesaw it. One person will be on one side of the bar, other person on the other side. I'll hit a clean, drop, Paul hits a clean, drops. Just make sure they're not too close to each other, okay? So management is all about spatial awareness and quantity awareness in terms of how many people are in the class, okay? And that would apply to our WOD today too. But anyways, from there, I guess the only other confusing thing would be like rings. So if we have a WOD, God forbid, that would have ring dips and ring rows in it, different heights of rings could potentially happen. Try to just have people kind of like stick with the same set. So like even I could do ring dips on this. I would just have to tuck my feet or hollow out really hard. So we can try to do that. Again, like with the pull-up bars, make sure that they identify their pair of rings and they stay with that, or they partner up if we're low, because we have 6 pairs of rings here. So if there's 12 people all doing ring dips, you can imagine that would be an issue. So we got to make sure that they've paired up on it, okay? So after class, we've got cool down, right? So the cool down, we're gonna make sure, one, everybody cleans up their stuff. All right, guys, we're gonna put our stuff away. You have to get it out, put it back. All right, so make sure they've all cleaned up, and then we're good for now. And then we're gonna talk about our assistance work. So, didn't really look at that. Today's assistance work is lateral raises, 30 per arm, okay? So then I'm going to demonstrate that movement. So we'll have them circle up again. We'll grab any equipment that we need. In this case, it would probably be like a 5-pound plate, lateral raises, simple movement. But we'll say, all right, looking for a hollow body, tuck that rib cage and that chin, arms up to the side, show them how to grip the plate so they don't drop them, things like that, right? So we'll run through how to do those movements. During the time that they are doing this, we're gonna start talking about upcoming events, social events, WODLUX, whatever, and upcoming paid programs or services that we're offering. So in this case, we have a nutrition seminar, and we also have open preparations as well as a weightlifting course coming up. So today we did power cleans, right? During today's class, I would identify somebody who struggled with a power clean, and then I would say, hey, Paul, I know you struggled a little bit with that power clean. We're not being too explosive off the hip. Something we should definitely work on. I know you looked like you were getting a little frustrated. The good news is I have this awesome national level weightlifter coming in on the 28th, right? He does a great job. He's done 2 seminars for us before. Everybody hits PRs at his class. You should definitely be there. It's $40. You wanna go ahead? All right, sweet. So he answered the question for me. So, and then just say, hey, can I go ahead and get you signed up for that, right? If you turn around, Sam, you can see the sign up sheet on the TV. On here, we just want to keep track of who's signing up, how they're paying. Is it checking, cash, or credit card? We'll document that. This sort of holds them accountable to signing up, right? Never say, hey, you want to sign up for that? He says yes, I let him leave. Nothing happens, right? So we get him signed up on here. Now it's happening, right? And then we expect him to be there that day because we're going to charge him before we actually have that seminar, okay? So cool down, great time to, 1, make sure everybody does assistance work so that they're staying safe and they're building up the tissues in their body. And 2, fill up these groups or specialty programs that we offer. Cool? That's class management.